Yeah, good morning, everyone. So last day has just been completed about how to call a um, how to call an API from applications using C# code. So first we saw how to call a API by using jQuery coding using Ajax call. Second option, what we saw is how to call the API by using C# code. They are the two things what we just been learned. So when you want to call by using C# code, we require to take the help of HTTP client class, and that HTTP client class is going to help you in just calling the things. HTTP client class. Well, I explained you about calling all the things. Okay, with that we have just completed with the concept of ASP ASP.NET. ASP.NET, MVC 5. We've been completed ASP.NET MVC 5. The next thing what we are going to learn now is about ASP.NET Core. So till now what we learned is ASP.NET. Under this MVC 5. Now ASP.NET Core, under this we have MVC Core again. We have MVC Core again. So first, let's understand what is ASP.NET. Yeah, we already know what is ASP.NET. ASP.NET is a technology for building a web applications. And basically this ASP.NET is pure platform dependent, which works only on the Windows systems. This works only on the Windows systems. Doesn't run for you cross-platform. Doesn't run cross-platform. But when you talk about ASP.NET Core, ASP.NET Core is pure cross-platform. It is pure cross-platform, which can run for you on Linux, Mac systems also. So let's start from that. What's it? ASP.NET Core. See, nowadays, when it comes to software development, everyone is talking about free, open source, and cross-platform development. So right now in the industry, the talk is like free, open source, and cross-platform development. It means our application should be capable to run on any systems we want. As we all know, Microsoft is well known for its Windows-based products. Now we are in a new age of software development, and for this, a new revolutionary product came into the market from Microsoft, and it is ASP.NET Core. So basically, Microsoft is well known for Windows-based products, guys. All what it provides is only Windows-based application. Okay, and now it has came out with a new revolutionary product in the market, and that is what we call as ASP.NET Core. Okay, next. History of ASP.NET. As we know, ASP.NET is a framework that can be used to develop a data-driven web application for many years. Since then, ASP.NET framework went through a steady evolutionary changes, and finally, the most decent evolution is ASP.NET Core. So basically, what is ASP.NET? A framework for building web application. So many changes are brought into it. And the latest and the most popular is ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core is not a continuation part of ASP.NET 4.x framework, but instead it is completely new framework. See, listen, ASP.NET Core is not an extension for the .NET framework. It is not an extension for the .NET framework. It is completely a new concept. It is completely a new concept in the sense, what I'm trying to tell is when a new version comes in the market, generally what we do, we leave the old version. When new version comes, we leave the old version. But here the concept is, old version is also in usage. New one is also in usage. Both are in usage. That's what I want to tell you. Okay. So ASP.NET Core is not a continuation part of ASP.NET 4.x framework, but instead is completely new framework. The framework is actually a rewrite of the current ASP.NET 4.x framework, but with a much smaller and a lot more modular. Some people think that many things remain the same, but it is not completely true. The ASP.NET Core is a fundamental change in the ASP.NET framework. Means This is completely a new style of building the application. We have ASP.NET in the market. We have ASP.NET Core also in the market. So many companies are building applications by using ASP.NET, and so many companies are building applications by using ASP.NET Core. So don't think like this is a replacement. This is not a replacement. This is only a alternate. Understood the difference? Replacement means we completely leave that and start with a new one. No, this is not a replacement. This is only a alternative. That's it. Another way of building the applications. What is ASP.NET Core? ASP.NET Core is a new version of ASP.NET Web Framework, mainly targeting to run on .NET Core. It is free, open source, high performance, lightweight, and cross-platform framework for building cloud-based applications such as web apps, IoT apps, mobile apps, all these things. It is designed to run on the cloud as well as on premises. Means it can run on the local server, or it can also run on a cloud server also. You can host it on a cloud, or you can host it on your personal local IES. Anywhere it can run. Same as .NET Core, it was architected modular and minimum overhead. And then other more advanced features can be added as NuGet packages as per application requirements. This results in high performance, require less memory, less deployment size, and easy to maintain. Actually, the concept of the .NET Core is designed as modular. What is that modular? What that modular is? Actually, guys, today afternoon, you want to go to a restaurant and eat meals. And you want to eat meals as a lunch. As a lunch, you want to take 3 meals. You ordered for a meals, and when you ordered for a meal, he will give you all the varieties of things. What he'll provide you? He'll give you some rice, some rotis, okay? 1 or 2 varieties of curries, dal, sambar, rasam, curd, everything is given to you, okay? In all these varieties, some of the things you may not even touch. Some of the things you may not even touch. You may not eat the rasam there. Someone may not eat the sambar. Someone may not eat one curry. We can leave. Yes or not? Chance is there. But even though you're not eating, you pay for all the items now. Yes or not? Even though you are not eating, you're paying for all the items. You pay for all the items now, and you are just... And some things you don't like, but even though you don't like and not eating, you're paying for it now. Understood my point? Once in one city I just visited, I found a restaurant like this. What it is? When you order for a meal, they're not giving everything for us. All the varieties are put before you and asking you, choose what you want. Choose what you want. You want to eat rice? Take a cup of rice. You want to eat roti? Take a roti there. You have 2 or 3 varieties of curries. What do you want? Take them. I want to have dal. I want to have rasam. I want to have curd. Take whatever you want. You're billed only for what you take. You're billed only for what you take. I had 3 varieties of curries, but I like only one there. I don't like the remaining 2. I did not like. But even when I go for a full meals and pay, even I don't eat, I pay for that. Yes or not? But here the concept is not like that. They're asking me only to pay for what you eat. You want this curry? Okay. This cup of curry is 15 rupees. Pay 15 rupees for it. You want a cup of rice? 10 rupees. Pay for it. That's all. They're charging it like this. So overall, you are only paying for what you eat and what you like. So 2 advantages. Food is not wasted. Yes or not? Food is not wasted. Money might be yours, but resources belongs to everyone. Remember that. Money might be yours, but resources belongs to everyone. In generally in our country, we ordered food, and even we don't eat food, we leave it, and we leave the food and come away from the restaurant. But in many of the countries, you cannot leave food in the plates. If you leave food in the plates without eating, you will be fined. You need to pay a fine. We will be fined for that. Why? That's what I'm telling. My money is yours, but resources are not yours. Remember that point. You can earn money, but not the resources. Resources are precious. Don't waste the resources is the concept. Order only what you can eat. Don't order because you have a big menu. Don't order everything and leave the food. That's a very bad habit. So exactly the same concept only I found the hotel there. What is it? They're asking me to choose what I want. I pick whatever I want and I'm just given a bill for all the items. I pay for it and just come out of it. I'm satisfied because I eat only what I like. And also my money is saved. Also my money is saved. So basically your .NET Core is also designed like that only. Modular. Basically, even though you consume it or not, generally in your regular, not in .NET Core, in your .NET framework, even you use or not, in a project, a lot of things will be coming for you by default. Even though you use it or not, a lot of things will be coming for by default. By default, so many services. If I select MVC project, whatever is required, even I consume or not, will come up there now. Did you catch my point or not? You take an MVC project, MVC, when I say MVC, everything related to MVC will come up. I may use it, I may not use it. Even I don't use also, it comes automatically to my application. So what happens now? It's a overhead of the application. Tomorrow when you're installing, unnecessary services are also present in the application now. But core, .NET Core is designed modular. What is it? It'll give you only basic things to you. Basic. Whatever you want should be added as a NuGet package. Everything should be added as a NuGet package only here. Are you clear? See, basically in .NET, how did we say? We come with the main things there. Few things we add as NuGets. But here everything should be added as NuGet. Everything should be added as a NuGet. That is what? Modular. Whatever you want, only take those services. Unnecessary services are not at all used. So this is going to decrease the overhead on the application. Application size is smaller, consumes less resources. So it is going to be powerful and performs well. That is the idea what Microsoft has introduced in the concept of the .NET Core. See, same as .NET Core, it was architected modular with minimum overhead, and then other more advanced features can be added as NuGet packages as per application requirements. This results in high performance, require less memory, less deployment size, and easy to maintain. Okay, so this is the other advantage what you have with it. Next, ASP.NET Core 7.0, 6.0, 5.0, and 3.x applications can be targeted to develop to run on the top of the .NET Core. What is it? These are the ASP.NET Core versions, guys. These are the ASP.NET Core versions. Remember, we learned about MVC versions. The last version of MVC is MVC 5. MVC 5. What is the last version of your .NET framework? 4.8. 4.8.1 or 4.8. Okay, 4.8. But your MVC version is 5. You understood? Your framework version and MVC version are not matching. MVC has its own versions, framework has its own versions. Got my point? MVC came in 2008. At that time, the framework version is 3.0. At that time, the framework version is 3.0. Afterwards, by the time framework reached 4.8, MVC has 5 versions in it now. 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. But without these confusions here, when you come to .NET, ASP.NET Core, if you come to ASP.NET Core, your ASP.NET Core versions will be exactly same as your .NET Core versions. What is the current version of the .NET we are using, guys? Louder. .NET 7, correct? Your ASP.NET Core version is also 7. Before that, we have .NET 6. Then we have ASP.NET 6. Before that, we have .NET 5. Then we have ASP.NET 5. Same way, ASP, we have .NET Core. Then we have ASP.NET Core 3.x. So you see the versions, the current one is 7.0. Before that, we have 6.0, 7.0, and 3.x. And these applications can be targeted to develop and run on the top of .NET Core only. Whereas .NET Core 1.6 and 2.x applications can be targeted to run on .NET Core as well as .NET Framework also. So these are the versions of ASP.NET Core. What is the first version? 1.x, 2.x, 3.x, 5, 6, 7. Now 7, 6, 5 and 3 applications will run only on the .NET Core. But 1 and 2 can run on .NET Core also, .NET Framework also, .NET Framework also. Actually, what I'm trying to tell is the first version of ASP.NET Core is ASP.NET Core 1.0. But what is the initial name? The initial name is .NET 6, ASP.NET 6. The initial name is ASP.NET. Sorry, not 6, 4, 5, 6 only. ASP.NET 6. They thought of giving the name as ASP.NET 6. Later, they changed their mind and renamed it as ASP.NET Core 1.x. Did you understand my point or not? The last version of your ASP.NET is 5, guys. So what they thought is ASP.NET 6. So afterwards, they changed their mind and completely renamed it as ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core, and the first version 1.0. 1.x in the sense 0, like extensions can come. So that's way these two can run for you both on .NET Core also and .NET Framework. This is cross-platform Windows, but these can run only on .NET Core. What is the running on .NET Core? Do you remember? Your .NET application never runs without a runtime there. Your application doesn't run without a runtime. Yes or not? You want to run a .NET application on your machine. What is must first? The runtime should be installed now. Without installing the runtime, you can't run a .NET application now. I want to run a ASP.NET Core 7.0 application on my machine. Compulsory, my system should be installed with .NET Core 7. .NET Core 7. Sir, what is the difference between .NET Core and ASP.NET Core? Did you understand my question? What is the difference between .NET Core and ASP.NET Core? .NET Core, you learned in the starting days, can be used for building any kind of application, console, Windows, web, mobile. ASP.NET Core is a part of .NET Core for building web applications. Did you understand me or not? What is .NET Core? It is for building any kind of application like web, console, Windows, mobile, cloud, games. We're giving you some 9 or 8 or 9 list, big list, IoT. All these particular applications can be developed. But under that, ASP.NET Core is a part which is used for building only web application. Okay? See, ASP.NET Core is initially launched as, I'm sorry guys, ASP.NET 5 only, not 6. I said wrong. ASP.NET 5, but later it is renamed as ASP.NET Core. Initial name is ASP.NET 5, and later they changed the name to ASP.NET Core. What is ASP.NET Core? Nowadays, the ASP.NET Core framework became more and more popular among developers. There are several reasons why modern developers are using it, which are listed below. There are several reasons why the developers are using it now. What is it? First one, open source. What is open source? The source code is available free of cost. The source code is available free of cost. You can go through the source code and you can just see what did they write. But earlier, .NET is not open source. When we learned .NET, .NET is not open source. From 2016, after launching .NET Core in the market, then only Microsoft made .NET as open source. Before that, you want to see something. What is the logic implemented in the string class? I don't know. But today I can see the complete source code is available for you in the GitHub. It is available in the GitHub, and that is the location where you can find it. HTTPS github.com ASP.NET. And you are free to download the source code, and even you can also modify and compile your own version of .NET Core. Okay, version of it. .NET Core team is always there to support your efforts in a seamless development of the application. Means if at all you are a licensed customer, the team will always help you. The team will always help you. So tomorrow, you work in a company. See, we work in a company. We suddenly face a problem. We'll immediately get in contact with the Microsoft customer support, and Microsoft customer support is always ready for helping us because we are licensed partners. We purchase the licenses to build application from Microsoft now. So we are called as a channel partners or licensed partners. Okay. So always we have a problem. We land in a problem. Microsoft will come into picture for helping. Recently, what happened is suddenly in our office, someone unknowingly or intentionally deleted a database, a production database. So how it happened, we don't know. But the database got deleted. With a lot of data. Unfortunately, there is no backup for that. There is not even a backup for this. There is no backup. So when we contacted the Microsoft team, the Microsoft team has recovered the database from my system and again given back. They have recovered it and given back the database and just given as a warning, always just to put a backup for your systems. You don't have a backups. Okay. All database have backup. Unfortunately, that database only doesn't have a backup and that is only deleted. And Microsoft team immediately came in action now. And within 2 or 3 days, they have recovered the complete data and given the database back for us. The team is always going to help you, provided you are a channel partner. Are you clear? So we are official channel partners. They provide us all the help and service at any point of time. So tomorrow you work in a company, the company will be a channel partner for Microsoft and Microsoft will help your team always now. Got the point? Second advantage, cross-platform. The ASP.NET Core framework is designed from scratch to keep in mind to be cross-platform. For both development and you can develop cross-platform, you can deploy cross-platform. You can develop on Mac machines now. You can deploy it on Linux, you can deploy on Windows, you can deploy on Mac, anywhere you can deploy. So we don't need to build different applications for different platforms using different frameworks. So the same application can run for you in all the areas. I said you one slogan earlier, if you remember, write once, run anywhere. Write once, run anywhere is the ideology behind it. The earlier version of ASP.NET framework, applications can run only on Windows platform, whereas ASP.NET Core applications can be developed as well as run on different platforms such as Windows, Mac, or Linux. We can host the earlier ASP.NET framework applications on IIS only, whereas we can host ASP.NET Core applications on IIS, Nginx, Docker, Apache, or even self-host deployment. We can just have or install it anywhere you want, but the older one runs only on IIS. See, till yesterday, whatever you built runs only on IIS. But from today, what you're going to build will run on IIS also, Nginx also. These are all servers, Apache server, Docker containers, self-hosted, all the places it runs. It is pure cross-platform. Okay. Next, editors. To develop ASP.NET Core applications, you have multiple options like one option, Visual Studio. Second option, Visual Studio Code. That is an IDE most popularly used in the industry for building for UI designings and all. Angular, React, for Angular application, React application, for HTML, CSS, JavaScript code writing. We use that Visual Studio Code as editor. Free download. It's a free download. If you are not downloaded, you can free download and you can just build or write all the HTML pages, JavaScript pages, all the things over there. Generally, means without using .NET, I want to build a web application. Without .NET, I want to build a web application using some Angular or React or something. Then the editor is Visual Studio Code. A very, very popular editor used in the industry by many of the companies. Recently, they added support for Java also. Even Java is right now going to be built on Visual Studio Code. As well as Revkite, we can also use third-party editors also, but we don't use here. Mostly what we use is either Visual Studio. These are only very powerful and beautiful. Why should I depend on someone else now? Okay, when I don't have any when I have problems with them, then we can depend on third-party. These are only very powerful. and there is no point of using, but option is there. Third party editors also can be used. Next, what is CLI? Command line interface. Using CLI, you can develop and run .NET applications, as well as you can publish the applications using CLI commands. Basically, this IDE, Visual Studio IDE is there now. The Visual Studio IDE is available for Windows. The Visual Studio IDE is available for Mac, but we don't have it for Linux. Why? Even though Linux is a GUI, mostly Linux is maximum 90% they use it like a CUI only. Linux is GUI only, no doubt. But 90% in the industry, Linux is used as a CUI environment only. It's an extension for Unix here, that's all. Mostly CUI only. So that's why Microsoft did not give a Visual Studio for Linux. Then how to build application? To build applications on Linux, we use the CLI, command line interface. Just like writing code in the notepad, compiling, executing, we done in the Visual Studio, we done on Windows. Same style of development for Linux with the help of the CLI support, command line interface support. I will show you. I'll show you that in Windows also it works. I'll show you that. Fast. ASP.NET Core no longer depends on system.web.dll for browser server communication. ASP.NET Core allows us to include packages that we need for the application, and this will reduce the request pipelines and improves performance and scalability. That's what I already said you on the first only. What said? Unnecessary things are not at all used here. What is required, that only you can use. Modular. So modularity will give you what? Performance. It is going to be performance. So faster in execution now. Next, IOC container. One of the most important used design pattern is a design pattern, guys. And we are going to learn about this design pattern in detail in our classes. We will learn about it. I'm not talking more on this, but I will show you about this in detail. We call it as dependency injection design pattern. Okay. And how do we use it? I'll tell you, because right now, if I tell you also, you don't understand anything here. And I just wanted to just skip up this one. And we will discuss about this in detail going forward. IOC, we call it as dependency injection design pattern. Okay. Next, unified MVC and web API framework. What is that? Yesterday, we built web API services. Na? Earlier, we built MVC controller, afterwards API controller. What is the parent class for MVC controller? Controller. And parent is base. That's a separate. For MVC, API. These two are two separate things now. But when you come to core, you create an MVC controller or you create an API controller. Both are having the same parent class. Both are having the same parent class. That's what unified MVC and web API framework. Unified. The ASP.NET Core provides a unified programming model for developing both web apps and web API. This means a single controller class can be used to handle both. The parent is same only for both now. A controller we create in ASP.NET Core, either web apps or web API application, is going to inherit from the controller base class, and all their action method returns action result interface. What is this? We have action result there now. Action result is what we used. Class that is now changed to interface. What is it? action. The parent of all the results is action result class. The parent of all the results is action result interface now. Means we are going to use action result in place of action result. The action result interface provides several implementation like JSON result. Child's here, all the child, nothing. See, there we have two separate controllers now. Separate parent class for MVC controller, separate controller for, but here both are same. Second, there we have action result with sub-child classes under it. But today the name is changed as action result. It is changed as action result. That's what we call unified MVC as well as web API frameworks. Integration with modern UI frameworks. It allows you to use the managed modern UI frameworks such as AngularJS, Angular, React, and Bootstrap. All these can be easily integrated. This is possible with our MVC applications also. Every day we used to do in our MVC also. Nothing new here. We done all these things in MVC also. What? Angular, Bootstrap, jQuery, Ajax, all those integrations we saw, possible here also. Handling request and response pipelines. What request and response pipeline? Recollect yourself here. I talked about this in your MVC classes. Request. It's a pipeline. I said you, first the request comes to web server. Web server will redirect you to route config. Route config will be redirecting you to a controller. Controller will take you to an action method. Action method to action result. After action result, rendering and sending the output. This is called as a pipeline. One after the other, each activity is going to be performed. One after the other, each activity is going to be performed. Okay. We can handle the request and response in ASP.NET Core application by using new middleware components. In earlier ASP.NET 4.x, we generally use handlers and modules to handle request and response pipeline. The ASP.NET Core framework provides a lot of built-in middleware component that we can use it. We can use those components to handle the request and response pipeline if you want. We also can create our own middleware. Yeah, you don't understand this particular point. When I open the project, I will teach you in detail. Two things I'm skipping up here. One is handling request and response pipeline. Second one, but we will talk about them in detail once we start the programming. Is that clear? I'll focus a lot on this IOC container because that is one of the great feature in our .NET Core. When you say .NET Core, you learned ASP.NET Core. What they ask is, do you know dependency injection pattern or not? That is what the main question what they ask for you. Okay, we'll focus a lot on this. I'll explain you. So I'm skipping this one here, and also I'm skipping you the request response pipelines. I'll explain you. Hold on. Next, ASP.NET Core web apps can be hosted on within any web server such as IIS, Apache, Nginx, Docker, etc. It is not dependent only on IIS. It is not dependent only on IIS as our standard .NET Framework web apps. Our standard .NET Framework apps are dependent only on IIS, but this is not dependent on IIS. It can run on other platforms also. Next, side by side, ASP.NET Core runs in .NET Core, which supports the simultaneous running of multiple versions of application. I explained about side by side in your C# classes, guys. When we talked about assemblies, I said you multiple versions of the assembly can run for you at the same time. You have Visual Studio 22 installed on your system. Tomorrow, Microsoft has launched Visual Studio 24 now. Can I install 24 on the top of 22 or should I uninstall 22 now? On the top of 22, I can install 24. I can run 22 also. I can run 24 also. That is called side-by-side execution. This is not a new concept. We already learned about this in C# only. Okay, next. Already said you modular. It is smaller deployment. ASP.NET Core application runs on .NET Core, which is smaller than the full .NET framework. So applications which uses .NET Core FX libraries will be having a smaller deployment size, and this reduces the deployment. Means what is it telling? A modular is smaller in size. So ultimately deployment size is also smaller. I given a live example for you. Take only what you want to eat. So your plate is not heavy now. Your plate is not heavy. I put 3 or 4 curry bowls in that. You may eat or may not eat, but your plate is heavy now. I'm putting only 1 curry bowl. What you eat? Your plate is lightweight now. Easy to carry. Understood? That is what. Now, see, many people are confused with ASP.NET Core and .NET Core. I too said you 15 minutes back, alright, don't be confused with the .NET Core and ASP.NET. Many people are confused with and .NET Core. Please note that ASP.NET Core and .NET Core are not the same. They are different. Just like ASP.NET and .NET Framework are different. To understand, .NET Core is fast, lightweight, modular and open source framework for creating web applications, desktop applications, CUI, GUI, mobile application, microservices, cloud, machine learning, game development, and Internet of Things. The day when you started .NET, the first day definition, this only given you. .NET is for building various different kind of application that can run on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Whereas ASP.NET Core is a web application framework under .NET Core for building web application. So .NET Core is a software platform on which ASP.NET Core applications run. So you can understand it like this. How? First, what we have .NET framework. Using .NET framework, I can build a variety of applications now. Yes or not? But I want to build console application. We have console app option here. I want to build a Windows application. We have Windows app option here. I want to build a mobile web application. Then I have ASP.NET apps. What do you have? ASP.NET apps. Okay. So 3 options. What is it? Console apps, Windows apps, ASP.NET. ASP.NET is for web apps. ASP.NET is for web apps. Same way. Now .NET framework is replaced with .NET Core. Here also we have. And now the ASP.NET is also available here with the name as Core Apps. You understood? ASP.NET Core is a subset of .NET Core. ASP.NET Core is a subset of .NET Core. So tomorrow, if you want to build a ASP.NET application, what you will install? You want to develop a ASP.NET application. What will you install? .NET framework. What do I install? I want to build a ASP.NET Core application. What do you install? If you install .NET Core, then you will get the provision for building ASP.NET Core. I can build console applications. I can build Windows applications as well as I can build. Recollect here, you learned C#. Na? In C#, what you learned? Console applications .NET Core. Yes or not? We learned console application .NET Core. One day, when I explained you finalizers, I created you console application .NET framework also. Remember, maximum 95%. What we done? Console application. One day, to explain you finalizers, I also created your console application .NET framework. Till yesterday, what are we using? ASP.NET on .NET framework. From today, ASP.NET Core applications on .NET Core. But when we install .NET, I made you to select all the options. So your system has framework installed as well as core installed. Remember that or not? When you install, what did I say? Select all the checkboxes, .NET Core 5, .NET Core 6, .NET Core 7, as well as .NET Framework 4.8, 4.8.1. I made you select all the checkboxes. So you installed both on your machine. What both? Framework also you installed, core also you installed. That is why both are running for you. But going forward, I can install only framework or I can install only core also. But as a developer, I made you to install both on your systems. That is why both are working for you till now. Is it clear? So watch this picture, watch this chart, guys. Have a look. .NET Core. Read .NET Core. Open source cross-platform. ASP.NET Core. And when .NET Core is open source and cross-platform, ASP.NET Core also will be same now because it is a subset. Next. That's a runtime to execute your applications now. ASP.NET. On the top of the .NET Core now. Third. You remember this one? You're required to install the .NET Core runtime. Means end users doesn't require SDK software development kit. Who should install? Developer only. Developer require both. What? SDK, runtime. But end user requires only one. What is that? In the initial classes, I shown you all these particular concepts to you. SDK is there. This is for development. Runtime is there to run the. Tomorrow, end users will install only runtime. They all install the SDK. But as a developer, I should install SDK also, runtime also. Come to other side. You will not install anything separately. What you install, .NET Core is installed. Then you have ASP.NET Core also in that now. When you install .NET Core, console application is coming as a part of it. Windows application is coming as a part of it. Same way ASP.NET Core also will come for you as a part of it. You don't require to install anything separately. Next. This only I said you. What is the version of your .NET Core? The same version will be for your ASP.NET Core. That's what I mentioned in the note there, see. Are you clear? So tomorrow, if you say I'm learning .NET 7, means you are learning ASP.NET Core 7 now. But tomorrow, if you say I am learning .NET Framework 4.8, but that is not going to be the same as your ASP.NET version. Your ASP.NET version can be different now. Okay, but here that confusion is not there. Okay, now read the next point. All these things are not there now, guys. What is not there, see? First one, no more global.asx. Second one, no more web.config. Third, no more packages.config. Array, we worked with all these particular files now. Even though we don't write anything in packages.config, whenever you install a new get, that information is stored in the packages.config. Next, these are HTTP handlers and modules are behind the screen which execute your .NET, which execute your ASP.NET applications. Last one. If you are coming from web forms, there is something called a page lifecycle model. You won't find all this particular thing. All these nonsenses are not there now. We don't have all these things. Okay, then what we have said, then what about web.config? How do we do the configurations and all? This is a big confusion now. Let me tell you, by creating a project. Let us create a project and let us see in detail how we are going to build the things in ASP.NET Core. Okay, so we'll try building up. One ASP.NET Core application, guys, so that we will be getting an idea about it. Okay. Guys, have a look. Create a new project. So selecting C#, selecting web here, all platforms web. And guys, we scroll down somewhere, we find our ASP.NET web application .NET framework, correct? Because modern, what they entertain is building core web apps. What's there? ASP.NET Core web app. This is like empty web application. This is like our empty web application. Basically, what the difference is, in our framework here, when we select ASP.NET, a window separately opens to you and asks you what you want to create: empty, web forms, web API, MVC. Yes or not? 4 separate things now. Here it is given 4 separate projects. Here it is given 4 separate. There 1 project, 4 sub options. But here 4 separate projects. First one, That's empty. That is empty. Empty project. You can open the project. You can convert into any way you want now. An MVC or a web API, any way you can run. Just like choosing our blank project option there. Next. For building a web API. Oh, sorry, guys. I said wrong. This is empty. I'm sorry, guys. I said wrong. This is empty. This is empty. This is API. This is MVC. Are you clear? Then what are the first one, sir? First one is like our web forms. Here we have web apps. Just a second. Now see, we are talking about .NET framework. Let us talk about .NET framework. Under .NET framework, to build web application, what you have? ASP.NET, correct? Under ASP.NET, we have again 3 different options. Do you remember? I said you in the first starting classes. Web forms, MVC, web API. 3 options. What we discussed, web forms is a old idea. Today, we are not building the web forms application, but maintenance of the web forms applications can be present, but we don't build them. We don't build them. Modern, we are not building. We learned MVC, we learned web API. Okay. Now what we have? .NET Core. What came under this? ASP.NET Core. Under ASP.NET Core, again, we have web apps. This web apps, it's somewhat similar to web forms. The web apps is somewhat similar to web forms, but it is not a successful model. It is not a successful model. It's not much popular. We don't use in application. Microsoft suggests using these web apps for small application. A small application with 10 to 15 pages I want to build. Then use web apps is what they say, but this is not successful. Okay. Second option. MVC is now MVC Core. Third option. What is that? You're forgetting again. Web API Core. Web forms is now web apps. MVC is now MVC Core. Web API is now. So we are learning both these 2 things again, guys. Are you clear? What did you learn now? Yeah. MVC web API now. Okay. So totally how many options? 3. We have all the 3 project templates here. See, you want to build a web app, then core web app. You want to build an API. You want to build an MVC. I want to go for empty blank project. This is nothing but a blank project. We got all the 4 options what we saw in our ASP.NET also. When we opened the project, it has given a window with 4 options. Empty, web forms, MVC, web API. But now all these 4 are 4 separate projects we have. All the 4 are 4 separate projects we have. Okay, now? Fine. Have a look, guys. I'm going for empty. I'm going for empty. You take an empty project, you can configure the project as a API, or you can configure the project as a MVC, or you can configure the project as a web app. Choice is yours. You take empty means you can convert into anything. But if you take MVC, pure MVC now, controllers, models, views. Web API, controllers, models, no views. Are you getting me? If you take web app, no controllers, what you find is only models and views. That's all. Controllers won't be there. Only models and views will come there. Depending on that, the project structure will change up now. Okay. So guys, have a look. ASP.NET Core, empty is what I'm selecting now. Click on the next button. Yeah, you know this. Give a name to your project now. Guys, I just used some name to my project. Let me Core test project 1.0. Under that, the version I'm using is 5.0 version, core 5.0. What is that? Runtime. The runtime is, the current latest runtime is 7.0. Na? I'm selecting core 5.0. Okay, I'll tell you. Location. I'm giving some name to it. Click on the next button. And all of you, just look, guys. Here you're required to choose now. What? 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. See, 3.0 out of support. 5.0 out of support. Yes, 5.0 is also out of support. What is the latest? Long-term support, 3 years. Standard term support. How many? 18 months here. I said on the starting only. Now, long-term support is 3 years. Standard term support is 18 months. Okay. When is it launched? 2022 November. Means 18 months from then. Means 24 April. Somewhere it will be present now. Are you clear? But this one is 3 years. It is 21. It came in 21. So 22, 23, 24 November it will be. Clearer or not? But this one will be 24. Somewhere in April only it will be expired. But this is 24 November. By the time Microsoft will come out with 8.0, that's different. That is different story. But this is out of support. These are out of support. Okay. Well, here, what is the difference? 5, 6, 7. What is the difference? Version enhancements. Version enhancements. You use a different version of C# also here. We use a different version of C# also here. Just go to your C# notes once. And here, once I explained you in the starting when I started C# classes, C# to you means when I introduced you C#, I listed you the C# versions. What is the current latest version? The current latest version is 7. Yes or not? And 7 uses C#11. You're working on 7 means C#11. You're working on 6 means C#10. You're working on 5 means, if you're working on 3 is C#8. 2 means 7.3. All .NET frameworks 7.3. All .NET frameworks, the C# version is 7.3. Okay, there's a version table I listed you already. Okay, say .NET framework, .NET Core, and .NET 5 support for C# languages. From .NET 5 means all the things above also I listed you. .NET 6 also, .NET 7 also. Do you remember in when I taught you working with Visual Studio? When I taught you working with Visual Studio, I introduced you features of C#10. I introduced you features of C#10. Global imports. No need of writing an import statement in all the files. You can put all the import statements in one file and use throughout the project. Remember that or not? But in MVC till yesterday, all your import statements you're writing in every controller, every action, every controller, every model also. Yes or not? In every controller, you are importing the model namespace. Don't you remember that? That's a time-taking thing now. But now if I use the latest version, I can go for using the global imports now. What are the global imports? If I import in one file, that works for my whole application. I don't require for all the files again and again. Am I correct? I can use global imports. And second, top-level statements. No need to write a class. No need to write a main method. Directly in your project, you can have one class. Directly console.writeLine will just give you the output. The first day you opened a project that came with only console.writeLine hello world. And that is also a new feature in 10.0. Are you clear? 10.0 came in .NET 6. Why I'm listing you all the things is tomorrow, if you're opening a project selecting 5-point text here, means which version of C Sharp? No top level elements, no global imports. If you select 6 or 7, then you'll be working with 10 or 11. There you'll have top level elements also. There you have global imports also. All these things will come into picture. That's why to tell you the difference, I am creating my first project in 5-point text. And here we'll see the code without global imports and without the top level. But if I open 6.0, you will have all those things again without confusing. First, I'm telling you the basic style, old style. Later, I'll take you to the new style of coding. Okay. So what is the .NET? That only is selected now. So that only I want to select now. Come on, let us choose. What is it? You, sir, I don't find the .NET 5 out of support on my system, sir. I did not find this. Install it, guys. Install it. How? Open the update. Open the studio update. And from there, you can update your things here. How do you do that? Open any existing project. Any existing project, guys. Okay, go to tools, get tools and features. In the tools menu, you'll find get tools and click on that. Go to individual components, and in the individual components, select .NET 5 out of support. Understood me or not? If you did not have this, come and do this. Clearer? Afterwards, restart your computer, restart your studio, restart your computer, and next time 5.0 also will be in the drop down now. Okay? I already installed. That is why I got it in the list. Okay, come back. Choose what? When I select .NET 5, immediately here the checkbox got disabled. Remember, removed there. What is it? Do not use top level statements. Remember the checkbox or not? In the console applications also we learned. Every day we used to select it. If I don't select, I won't get a class. Program class is not generated. So same, if I select the 6.0, see there, now this option comes. But when I select 5.0, this option is not coming. Are you clear? So that only I just mentioned here. .NET out of support, and also uncheck all the checkboxes of the window and click on create button. Okay. So just all the checkboxes. This is again HTTPS checkbox. We will select it here. Next projects will select it and we'll see how to run an HTTPS protocol. I did not show you in .NET framework. I'll show you how to run on HTTPS protocol. Right now, I did not select this. So I'll be running on HTTP protocol. If I select this, I'll run on HTTPS protocol. We'll see that. Ignore it. Click on the create button. It creates you an empty ASP.NET project. Sir, what applications are web app? MVC or web API? Nothing. You should create, you should tell what you want. You should tell what you want. This is an empty project, that's all. Empty project. And when you open the Solution Explorer, no controllers folder, no models folder, no views folder, nothing is present. Yes or not? None of the folders. Now go for a MVC project. MVC project, you will find controllers, models, views. Go for a web app, you find models and views. Go for a MVC, you will find controllers and models, but not views. Web API. Go for Web API. What you get? Controllers and models. MVC. Controllers, models, views. Web app. Models, views. No controllers. There are no controllers here. But this, because I taken empty, nothing is coming now. Is it clear? Now, by default, understand the architecture of the project. The first one. What is the first thing? Is your solution? Is your project? And that we have a set of items here. What is the first one? Basically, this connected services is used for hosting. Tomorrow you want to deploy your project on a cloud. That connected service will provide you an interface to host your website on a public server like Azure. That will provide you an interface for hosting it on a public server like Azure. And we will anyhow see that process in the end of our classes. We'll just check out how to go for hosting on a public server. Next one. Dependencies. The dependencies, basically, it is going to talk about all the dependencies here. You basically see three things here: analyzers, frameworks, and one more thing, reference assemblies. Analyzers, frameworks, and references or assemblies will be there. Just forget it, guys. Dependencies. Just a minute, I'll tell you. Analyzer, four options: analyzers, frameworks, packages, projects. Four sub options will be there: analyzers, frameworks, packages, projects. What are those, sir? I'll tell you. We'll discuss about all the things. I'll explain you what are analyzers, what are frameworks, what are packages, and what are projects and what are packages. I'll just give an explanation about all the things. Next one, properties. Next, this is your web.config from now. No more XML. It's all JSON. No more XML. Everything replaced with JSON now. And you'll have two classes here: program.cs, startup. Program class, startup class. If you just open program class, main method. And in this, it is calling another method. What is the method? Create a host builder. Create host builder. Okay. Second one is going to be startup class. It is going to be a startup class. Like this, we have two simple classes here. The first wonder what we have now is, the first confusion what we have is, sir, we did not find a main method in our ASP.NET MVC application anywhere. Even in web forms also we did not find. MVC also we did not find. We found it only in the console apps, Windows apps, but we did not find it in web apps anytime. But now you got a main method again. What is this? It's a console application, web application. That is the first question you'll have in the mind. Okay. We'll clarify that, guys. Put all these things in the mind. I'll just give you a clarification for each and every of the appropriate thing. Okay. Now, guys, we'll do one thing. Just watch. This is what you have created now. Now, what we done? We created ASP.NET Core 5.0. Okay. And next, we'll open one more project, guys. Just for comparison, we'll open another project. Latest 7.0. 6.0, 7.0 are same. So without 6.0, directly I'll go with 7.0. 7.2 means C# 11. C# 11 means global imports, top level elements, everything will come now. Okay. So guys, let's create a new project. Empty only hai. Create a new project. Selecting empty only, guys. See the name. Core, there we said core 5.0. Here I said core 7.0. Next, click on next button. Choose what? 7.0. Choose 7.0. Uncheck all the check boxes. Don't check this also. Everything uncheck. Now also uncheck all the check boxes. Click on create. Connected services now also. Dependencies, properties. What is missing? Startup.cs is missing. A class is missing. Which class? Startup.cs is missing. Okay. What we have is program.cs. Open it. Top level elements. No main method, no class, nothing. That is why I opened you 2 projects to you. Are you clearer or not? If you go with 5.0, you'll find a class, everything. You go to 6.0, 7.0, no class, no startup, nothing you'll find. Directly code will be present up here. If I straight away open up the latest and show you, will be confused of now. That is why I'm first telling you, old one, the new architecture. Old architecture and the new architecture. See here, this is the old. Check. Concentrate. I named it correctly now. 5.0. If you go to a program, array, class, import statements, everything we are finding here now. And if you come to 7.0 now, no startup and no main method and class code in the program.cs. 6.0 also will be like this only. That's why, again, without telling you 6.0, 7.0, all this becomes again a headache for us. So that's why I directly opened 7.0. Are you clearer or not? Okay, we have 5.0, we have 7.0. Okay, nothing in my hands here. Microsoft is giving the changing. I need to tell you, it is a headache for me also teaching these many number of things. Are you getting me? Okay, see, I can't help you. I did not design this architecture. You need to learn how is it present. Nothing in my hands. What is there, I'll teach you there. That's it. Okay, fine. So we have created one in 5.0, one in 7.0. Okay, unchecking all the checkboxes, guys. And now you will be getting up all these particular things. What is it? Check this. If I check this, again, you'll find class now. If I check this, what you'll find? Class. Okay, just to make you understand that class is all missing. I did not check it out. But sir, it is confusing, sir. Can I have a class here? Yeah, you can have a class. Oh, while creating a project, check the checkbox. Then what you'll find? Class, main method, all you will see in the regular pattern. Shall we do that? Okay. So this project I want to delete off. This project I want to delete off. Recreate the same project with checking that checkbox. So that we will find class, main method, and all the things. Okay. Let us delete this project, guys. Where we saved? D drive, MVC 11. Delete. Let's recreate the project. Create a new project. Empty. That name all I'm giving a next. But now better choose this option. What is it? Do not use top level statements. Oh. Not a problem, but still first I need to explain about HTTPS to you. Not an issue, but still I did not explain about the HTTPS. So that's way Next, uncheck configure for HTTPS and check do not use top level statement, click create. So now also startup is missing, array same only, but now you will find all namespace, class, main method, everything you will see now. Are you clearer or not? Okay. So like this, you'll be finding up the two projects now. So mainly, if you notice, if you just notice, these are two separate projects, what I just created. Are you clear? And this is the 5.0 guys. See there, connected services, dependencies, properties, and properties we have launch settings, app settings.json. Under that you'll find app settings.development.json, program, startup. And here we find the same only, but startup is missing. You can just verify again. Under properties, you'll find launch settings. Under app settings, you'll find app settings.development, JSON files. Okay. And the same like this, here also, we have all the things here. What's it? Properties, app setting. What is missing is startup is missing. Startup.cs is missing. Rest of all are same. Okay, na? Fine. Up to ASP.NET Core 5.0, we find the file startup.cs, whereas from ASP.NET Core 6.0, we will not have startup.cs file anymore. From 6.0 means now we can for 7.0, so it applies for both now. Are you clearer? Run the ASP.NET Core application, which will open a browser and displays the output as hello world. Oh, really? It'll show me? Yeah, it'll show you. So let us run it. No, we did not select SSL now. Oh, it's asking, do you want to use SSL? It's asking, do you want to use SSL? We'll do it here. I'll explain about SSL. Hold on. Don't be confused about it. I'll just talk about the SSL. It is asking you, shall I use SSL? Okay. You see the output on the browser. This is 5.0 project. Same way, run here. 7.0. Again, the same pro. It's again a new feature here. Earlier, we don't have that option asking like this. Now they included it again. Got the output. Okay. So both of them are giving the output. So where is that output coming from? See, you are in 7.0. Okay. Program.cs. See there. The message coming from here now. Same way, go to 5.0. Go to startup.cs, not program.cs. Go to there, you'll find. You find in different files. Up to 5.0, where you find? From 6.0, where you find? In program.cs. But somewhere it was written there that output is coming. Okay, don't bother much. Just I have given an idea running the things, that's all. See, this is what? In 5.0, the code is await context.response.write async. In 6.0 and above, in the notes, guys, I very clearly listed up all these particular things to you. What? Up to ASP.NET Core 5.0, how will it will be? And from ASP.NET Core 6.0, how it will be? Both I mentioned. That way taken a lot of time for preparing these notes only. Up to I have given 2 architectures in the code again. If you are working in 5.0, how to write the code. If you're working in 6.0, how to write the code. Everything is separately listed up there. Now change the code, guys. Change the hello world to anything you like and run it. See, I'm changing the code here. What? Created using ASP.NET Core 5.0. Whatever I write there, that only will display now. So come to this project. Replace the code now. .NET Core empty web application created using .NET Core 5.0. Same way, come to here, and here also replace the code with what you want. Okay, so if you run it, you will see the latest or the new output now. Yeah, whatever you put, that is coming for you. So nothing, guys. We just ran our application, and we just saw how to run the appropriate thing, but they're completely different. What is different? Different styles of coding. 5.0 we have in a different style, and from 6.0 we have in a different style. Okay, let me explain you about that first. What? Why do I have a main method, sir? Why do I have a program class? All these things we saw in console applications and Windows, but we never came across these things in web applications till now. In web application, main method, program class, all these are missing now. Why they are coming again now separately now? Listen, your ASP.NET Core, web applications, your ASP.NET Core web applications will initially start as a console application. I repeat, your ASP.NET Core web application initially starts as a console application. After starting it as a console application, it will build or it will transform itself as a web application. It will transform itself as a web application. And then it will go and get hosted on a web server. And then it will convert into a web application, runs under the web server. But the initial launch is not a web application. Initially, that is launched as a console application. After launching on a console application, it is hosted on a web server, transforms into web application, and runs under the web server. Why like this? Because it is designed like this for Linux environment. It is designed like this, like for a Linux environment. Basically, mainly, I said you already, even though Linux is GUI, 90% of the times Linux is used as a CUI only. It's a CUI, console based. So that's why for Linux, putting Linux in consideration, they have just designed it like this. What is it? First, it will start like console app. It will build. Afterwards, get hosted on a web server, converts into web app, and then it is going to be running as a web application. That is why you have main method, program class, all these things coming into picture. Did you catch my point? Yes or not? Okay, I'll explain you much in detail, and I will show you much in detail going forward. I'll just show you all the things. When will it be a console application? When it is hosted on a server? When it will convert into a web application? All the things step by step, I will practically show you and explain you. Hold on. Okay, I'm only telling you why main method and why program class. That's all. Okay, fine, guys. Now see, I want to just, our intention is to learn what? Our intention is to learn MVC core. Our idea is to learn MVC core application. Basically, our idea is called MVC application. So let us create another project, guys. What's it? MVC core. MVC code. Here also, you can just create in 5.0, 7.0. 5.2, 7.0. I don't write any code. Simple projects I'm opening and showing you. That's writing that code. This is an 5.0 optional. Just to give an idea, I've written that. That's all. Just open the projects and watch. That's all. Okay. Just create a project again. One more project I'm creating. Already 2 projects are open. Now I'm opening my 3rd project. Create a new project. Let's choose web app, model view controller. Next, give a name for it. I given the name as Core MVC Project 5. Click next. And guys, here what I selected 5.0, and also make sure the checkbox configure for HTTPS is selected. Now I'm selecting, guys. Okay, now. So 5.0 out of support, and also configure for HTTPS is selected. Yes. Now I'm telling you HTTPS now. Create. What do you find now? Models, views, controllers, startup, program, all you'll find. Connected services we saw there. Yeah. Dependencies we saw there. Properties we saw there. This is new, www root. I'll tell you. App settings we saw. Let me explain about each and every folder now and each and every file. What is the use of it? I said you this only in the last class. The architecture only will talk you 3 to 4 days. I cannot write even a single line of code without telling you the complete architecture. Is it clear? Okay. So we'll have theory only for next. But if you don't follow this theory correctly, you cannot build your applications going forward. Okay. So try to understand. Let me explain about each and everything. Already I said you about connected services. What I said to you? This provides you an interface for hosting our sites. This provides an interface for hosting our sites. I want to host my site on Microsoft Azure. It will give you the interface to do that. Second one, under dependencies, 4 options will come. What are the 4? Analyzers, frameworks, packages, projects. What are all these things? Analyzers. Analyzers are basically these are specially introduced for you now. They will analyze the code. They will analyze the code and will give you warning messages and all, telling you this is unnecessary declaration. You unnecessarily declared this variable, did not use this anywhere. You can simplify this code. You're writing 2 separate lines. You can simplify this code like this. It will analyze and tell you how you can improvise the performance of your applications. Understood my point or not? That is what analyzers are all about. They will analyze you the complete code and they will give you a detailed information about what is required, what is not required. See, these help you make your code better, cleaner, and error-free. Each analyzer checks that your code satisfies a list of rules incorporated in it. If any part of your code does not apply to one of the rules, you will see the either warning or an error while you build your project. Please note that analyzers work only in compile time and do not affect your resulting apply. Analyzers will analyze the code only when you are compiling the program. They will not come into picture when you are executing. Compilation completed. Analyzer job is over now. Means analyzer works along with the compiler. Analyzer works along with what will compiler do? Compiler only go for syntax checking. But the compiler will never check whether this correct logic or not. It won't check all these things. It will only check the syntax. Analyzers will check now what code can be removed off, what code is required, unnecessary variable declarations, all these things it will let you know now. That is what analyzers will do. Second one, you know about the frameworks here. What frameworks are you using in your application? That's what it is going to list. .NET Core plus ASP.NET Core frameworks. We just require these two frameworks now to run our application. What is that? Mainly .NET Core. Under that, ASP.NET Core frameworks. That is what frameworks is. See this? This contains the list of frameworks your project depends on. This information is important when you publish your web application to a server. Why? Tomorrow you're hosting your application on Azure now. Now Azure should know now in which framework did you build the application now? You built on .NET framework, you built on .NET Core. How will Azure know that? Azure will look into it. Frameworks, okay, these are this, and will provide you an environment to run the application there now. Okay, as opposed to self-contained. Self-contained means local machine. In this case, all the frameworks listed here must be installed on the server where you will run your application. See, I developed on 7.0. Azure is not there 7.0, only 6.0 present. My application won't run there. So compulsory, the same version should be on the Azure. Sir, will this happen? Never happens here. I'm telling you. If Microsoft is giving 7.0 for you, won't it update Azure? Azure is also Microsoft product only. They given a latest means before that only they'll give you 7.0 in Azure. Just an idea and tell you that's it. I built in 7.0, but Azure doesn't have 7.0. Problem will start now. So what version is listed here? The same thing should be listed for you on the public server also. Third one, you removed packages.config now. Now you got packages now. Packages.config is removed. When you install a package, you get that information in the packages.config. Now in the place you got packages now. Read it. You want to remove a package, simply right click and say remove. So right now I did not install any packages in my application. Suppose if I install any packages, the packages node will come there and it will show you what packages are installed. That package may depend on some sub package. That also will come now. Okay. When I install the packages, I'll show you that particular thing. What package? NuGet. Okay. And fourth one, you know that. You know that. Read it. All of you know that. You know that now. You're adding a reference now that will be listed for you under the projects now. Are you clear? In our older application, references node will be there. But here they are completely separated. Analyzers, frameworks, packages, projects. Right now, no packages are there. That's why we did not see packages node. And right now, we don't have any reference added. That's why we don't have the projects. But going forward, all these things will be coming for us. Clearer or not? What next? Properties. What is properties? This contains different properties of your project that we modify by double clicking on this node in Solution Explorer. Most of the properties here affect the compile time and debug time behavior of your project. The only item inside of this node is launch settings.json file that contain the list of launch profiles. Each profile defines how to run your project, whether the browser should be opened or not, which port to use, which environment variable should be set when we run the project. By default, we'll be finding two profiles to run your ASP.NET Core web application. One is IIS Express and Core MVC project. The launch settings.json file is as below in the project when we created. I'll tell you guys about this launch settings. Just have a look on the file. It's a JSON file. It's a JSON file. And here it is trying to tell you how your project is going to run for you. By default, all your project runs in IIS Express now. Yes or not? And you have a port number. Some port is automatically assigned, and the port that is assigned for you is 10678. If you are running on HTTP, and 44371 if you are running on HTTP, yes. HTTP, yes. Let me run this, guys. Let me run this. Yeah, he's asking, do you want SSL now? Yeah, I selected. Raven, opening the project, I selected now. Okay, I want to run this. And basically, when you want to run in SSL, you need a certificate for that. You need a certificate for that, and that certificate should be purchased. You need to purchase. For the time being, Microsoft provides you a free SSL certificate for testing, and that is installing the certificate. That is installing the certificate. Tomorrow you go to a public server, you need to pay for that certificate. But right now, just for testing purpose, Microsoft provides you a free SSL certificate. Secured socket layer certificate is available free. Just click on yes button, and now your project runs on HTTPS protocol. So by default, the certificate is offered to you over there. Attackers might steal your information, local loss message. Why? Certificate not installed. Just a minute. My face blocking. Have an option here. Just stop and run that cell. Just stop and run. It's running an HTTPS protocol. See, it's running in the HTTPS protocol. Okay. And you guys see what is the port number? Suppose, let me copy this URL, all of you. This is HTTP, right? Okay. Give this URL in the page now. Give this URL. Hit enter. Change it up. See. It changed off now automatically. What I entered is this one. When I hit my enter, changing off to HTTPS. Changing off to HTTPS. Okay, I taken an MVC project now. MVC project, even in there also, when we take MVC project, by default home page, all the now also we are getting all the things. Home page, privacy page, like this. It has a design, it has a layout, all are built in there. That's all. Okay, so basically the IIS settings, all the information for IIS settings are mentioned here. Are you in a Windows authentication? False. You are in a anonymous authentication? True. And you're running under IIS Express, and this is the application URL, and this is the SSL port. All that information will be present inside of it. Tomorrow, I configure my project to run on IIS now. That information also will come and sit here. That information also will come and sit for you here. What information? What information? The application URL, the port number, all the data will come and sit for you here. We call them as profiles. We call them as profiles basically. You see here profiles. What is the profile? Command name. Do you want to launch a browser? True. And environment is, I said you 3 different environments in application development, remember? What are the 3? What are the 3? Get out of the classroom. Behave yourself in the classroom. Next time you'll be thrown out. Seriously watching the phone. I'm telling you something important. You're seriously watching the phone. Okay. So this is what? What is the profile? IIS profile. Command name. Do you want to launch a browser? Environment. What is this? I explained, you remember, when you're developing application, 3 environments you'll be having. What are 3? Development, staging, production. How you want your application to behave in development? How your application to behave in staging? How you want your application to behave in production? Everything we are going to define here. Everything we are going to define here. Means basically we tell the current environment is a development environment. Automatically my settings will change. How you know? Here you see in the launch settings, when I mentioned as a development, it will read all the settings from this file. Which file? This is your web.config. This is your web.config. Are you clear? And same like this, guys. Here, if I say staging, I'll have a separate file, app settings.staging.json, and it will take the details from there. In development, I want to run on IIS Express. In production, I want to staging, I want to run on IIS. In production, I want to run on Azure. I can mention all that particular information under these files. That is, as the name indicates, launch settings. These are the settings which will come into picture when the application is launching. After launching, then it will check, is it a development environment, staging environment, production environment. Based on that, it will use the different deployment files. What is the beauty here, you know? In all the current projects, what we are developing today in the market, or today in our application, our company, we have the biggest headache. What the headache is, we have only one config file, web.config. Tomorrow, you want to run this in the test environment, means local environment. You're in the development. I require to change all my configuration settings now. My database should be different. Hey, you cannot connect to production database now. You will be connecting to a development database now. All these settings will be different. Okay. Again, you are going to run on a staging environment. Again, you'll be connecting to a different database. You're running a production environment. You'll be connecting to a, you know, not 1 key, 2 keys here. Hundreds of keys will be there. We need to all replace every time. We need to replace every time. We put all these things in the config file, and on the top we mention, what is it? Development environment. Again, the same set of keys one more time, staging environment. The same set of keys one more time, production. What the hell, you know? You're required to keep commenting, uncommenting all these things. If you forget to comment, you are pushing off the code to test now. You forget to comment it and you left as development. The development database will come there. You moved off to production. In production, what database will be used? Development database will be used. In the same way, this is the problem, not issue. But think reverse now. In development, you are pointing to production and made a change now. That is the most dangerous thing now. Yes or not? The bloody hell, what we face every day in our application development is this only. How very carefully, by mistake, some of the freshers to some of the entry-level developers will do this. They'll move off the code without properly doing commenting and uncommenting. And a lot of issues will face. But all these particular problems, Microsoft has given a permanent solution in the .NET Core, telling like you can maintain separate settings files. You can maintain separate setting file. You have separately for development. You have separately for staging. You have separately for production. So 3 app settings will come. What about the remaining 2? You should add. You should add them. But one place you change it. What is it? Launch settings. Go to launch settings and say development. It will use all the development file now. Say there staging. It uses staging file now. Say there production. Uses the production file now. So completely a permanent solution Microsoft has given in the .NET Core. But when you have the .NET framework, there is a bloody hell. That is the worst scenario what we have. Multiple config files will be there. You should be carefully you should be very careful in commenting, uncommenting all this particular code. If you miss any key, it will behave wrong now. Are you getting my point here? But without that, separately maintain all the keys and change it here, and that will take care of it now. Okay. And right now, this is for what? IS Express. Tomorrow, I can set it like this for IES. I'll show you. We'll host an IES. Then it will add you a new profile called IES profile. And for IES, what settings you want to apply, all the things it will tell you now. Am I clear? Okay, we'll show you guys in the next class. I'll show you hosting on IES, and we will understand about adding a new profile there. And also, what is the third one also, I'll tell you. We'll talk about it. Let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow. Yes, staging means QA. QA environment is called as staging environment. ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చన్లు ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వాలి మొత్తం ప్రిపేర్ అయితే ఆ క్వశ్చన్ అలా అడిగితేనే మీరు చెప్పండి మొత్తం మెటీరియల్ ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వాలి అది ఏం అడిగే